All right. Let me get this link here and we'll be ready to rock and roll as soon as I share it with the community. By the way, if you're not in our community that is created just for entrepreneurs and solopreneurs on their road to their first six figures, you need to be. So you need to join us at shaycannon.info/group. Get in the group. It is a community just for you. All right. All right. We've sent that link over so we can get started. Good morning and welcome to Unlock Your First Six Figures morning show. I'm your host, Shay Cannon. It all starts with the blog. This week's blog is at shaycannon.com/routine, ROUTINE, because we are talking about essential small business routines for your day, for your week, for your month, and for your year. Okay. Because you are a small business, your success is going to be found within your routine. What are you routinely doing in your business? And sometimes we don't quite know what that should be, right? We know we're busy. We know we're tired. We know we have these goals and aspirations, but we don't quite know what we should be doing and how often we should be doing it. So this week, I'm giving you the secret sauce on exactly what you should be doing, okay? So there are some things that you should be doing daily. If you want to know what those things are, catch the part 1 replay of this episode, of this morning show, okay? But today we're on part 2. We're going to talk about what you should be doing weekly, okay? Weekly as a routine in your business. Now, let's start off with the top 5 things, okay? The number 1 thing you should be doing weekly is you should be taking a look at your marketing, okay? You should be taking a look at your marketing. What is working, okay? Because guess what? We need to do more of that. What is not working? We need to do less of that and come up with something else, okay? So you should be looking at your marketing. So this could mean checking out your social media, checking out your ads, checking out your blog traffic, and tweaking things as you go, okay? But this is the problem. If you're not looking at this stuff, you don't know what to tweak. And again, we already have very limited time. We already have very limited energy, all those things. So what we put energy towards and what we put time towards counts the most. We have to keep up with what's going on so that we're pouring that energy and streamlining it into what works. Okay. So check out your marketing. Number 2, customer TLC, a little tender love and care for your customers. What I need you to do is I need you to be paying attention to these relationships. You should know who your cold leads are. You should know who your warm leads are. You should know who's hot enough to buy, okay? Because you should be nurturing these relationships that you know them. Okay, so we also can nurture them by thinking about things like rewards, referrals programs, and just different things we can do to keep the conversation going. Okay, that's our relationship building. So that's how we're going to give them a little TLC. Number 3, we need to be partnering up. We need to be looking to partnering up weekly. Okay, weekly. We need to be looking at this Dream 100 list that Letitia Austin taught us about. Okay. Who is it that you could create a win-win relationship with that is strategic, that could, it could be innovative. It could bring you revenue. Okay. So look for other cool businesses that have your audience that you can team up with. Okay. Again, relationships need to be win-win, y'all. These partnerships need to be win-win. So it's not just what you need from them. It's also what can you do for them. Okay. Not just what you need from them, but also what can you do for them. All right, number 4, money matters, okay? Money talks. So keep an eagle eye on your finances weekly, okay? We need to be saying weekly, all right, how did this week turn out? Okay? What are the expenses? Was there an expense that wasn't accounted for, right? I'm saying money and using the word accounting. Let me use another word, okay? What are the expenses that were unexpected, okay? What are some of the maybe the revenue that came in that was unexpected? The earlier we catch these things, again, the earlier we can either benefit from them or we can minimize our damages or our losses. Okay. So weekly, check that money. Goal check in. You need to check in with your goals at least weekly. Okay. There's not a person out there that has a business that doesn't have goals, even if your goal is simply just to make money. But of course, you should be a little more complex than that and have other goals. You should have goals in different areas of your business, goals for yourself as a business owner. Okay. So each week, make sure you're keeping track of your short-term goals, because those short-term goals are what's going to make up your long-term goals. All right. So if something's off, weekly, you have a chance to switch gears and make things work. Okay, so that's your top 5. That's your top 5. Of course, I'm going to ask you guys in studio, what are you going to implement? But before that, I'm going to go ahead and give you 10 more. So listen up. I'm going to give you 10 more. All right. So we can go deeper with social media engagement, right? We need to be figuring out weekly, okay, what worked weekly in our social media, right? What were the times a day that we got the most engagement? What were the topics that got the most engagement? We need to be really looking at that. If you don't have time daily to go back and respond to comments and things like that, then weekly you need to make time to go back and engage back with your people, okay? And sometimes the crazy thing is the things that they respond to and the things that you are answering back may give you a whole nother topic to create social media content around the next time. So it works to really go into that social media engagement. All right. Performance metrics. You should have KPIs for every goal that you got. Okay. Every goal, every intention, everything that you want to happen, every value you want to have should have a KPI or a key performance indicator. Okay. Now, let me give you some examples. It could be customer acquisition costs, because if you are, and let me tell you how customer acquisition costs is not just money. Sometimes it's your time, right? Because in the beginning, your time is money, right? When we don't have the money to put into stuff, we put in that elbow grease, that's our time. So how much time or how much money or how much of both is it taking for you to acquire new customers, right? That could be your tofu or top of funnel marketing. What are your efforts in that? How much time are you spending on it? How much money are you spending in ads? Okay. How much money are you spending on a social media manager? You know what I'm saying? All of those things. You need to be looking at those things as KPIs to see what are the fruits of the labor coming back to you for those investments. Okay. Conversion rates, okay? When we are getting in front of cold audiences, we need to know our conversion rate, y'all. And some of y'all are not getting in front of enough people to know what your conversion rate is. And what it is, okay, is how many people are you getting in front of versus how many people are you actually selling into your offers, okay? That percentage is your closing rate. That closing rate is going to be what helps you to get to your revenue goals. Okay. So I know that if I get in front of 100 people, I'm going to sell at least 10, right? If I get in front of 10 people, I'm going to sell at least 5. Okay. 10% closing rate, right? If that math is correct. So if I have a goal of hitting, let's say I want to sell to 1,000 people this month, I know I need to get, that's only 10%. I need to get in front of tenfold that many people in a month. Okay, that's how we reach our revenue goals. So I know a lot of you sometimes are like, what are these, am I just pulling these numbers out of my ass to reach my goals? No, it's a numbers game. Okay, so if you want to make 1,000 sales, you need to get in front of tenfold people. Okay, somebody do the math. Look, that ain't mine. What is it, Heather? I saw your mouth move. What was it?
100,000.
100,000. Okay, so if
Oh
you
no,
want
that's
to.
fine. 10,000. See my math?
Okay, 10,000. See, that's why I ain't even try, because I'm like, it's way too early for math. Look, maths with the S. Okay, but you want to sell 1,000 people, you need to get in front of 10,000. Okay, so that's how that works. But it only works if you know what your closing rate is, and that you know your closing rate is 10%. So whatever your closing rate is, you need to get in front of that many fold people. Okay, so that's what that is. Okay, you need to be getting feedback in your business. Weekly is great, okay? And let me tell you how it doesn't have to be the same feedback every week. One week you can get customer feedback. The next week you can get feedback from your team. The next week you can get feedback from vendors or service providers. But you need to be getting some type of feedback weekly, okay? It's going to be too much for you to try to get all that stuff monthly. So go ahead and put it routinely for weekly for you to get some feedback. Feedback is fuel. It's going to help you go forward faster. Okay, we need feedback. Otherwise, we're making decisions and we're thinking of ideas and we're solving problems in a bubble. You need outside information about the exact things that you're doing. All right. All right. Website analysis, y'all. Did y'all forget about that SEO? Don't forget about that SEO. It all starts with our website, right? So we need to do website analytics. We need to look at them weekly. All right. I look at mine to see which one of the blog posts are doing well. Okay. So I can know what to do a deeper dive on. Maybe I need to create a workshop around something. Okay. So that's how that can work for you. But you need to be knowing where your traffic is coming from. Sometimes, United States is not the only place I get traffic. Okay. But in the United States, I need to know where is most of my traffic coming from. Guess what that can help me to do? Remember when we talked about local ads last week? Yeah. Now I know where I can do a billboard or where I can run a local ad. How much traffic am I getting to my website from these different states, even the cities? Okay. Also, what are your biggest traffic, we're going to say referral sources? Is it Facebook? I just started doing a short form video on Pinterest. Did y'all know you could do short form video on Pinterest? Yeah. So I'm looking to see if they become a large referral source to my website. Okay. So do your website analytics. Also in that, I'm going to go ahead and say, start working on your SEO weekly. Okay. SEO, we know there are certain things you can do daily, but then there are certain things you need to go back and do weekly. SEO is so large. There are things you can do daily, weekly, and monthly. Okay. So always add that SEO in there. Never forget that it's important because that is people finding us when they are looking for us. Okay. Not us trying to catch their attention and hope that they're ready to hear from us. SEO is important. All right. Learning. Okay. At least once a week, you should have time to learn. Okay. Just like you feed your spirit weekly, most likely, right? However you do that, no judgment, right? You should be feeding your business knowledge weekly. So on Sunday, I actually feed my spirit and I feed my professional development. Y'all know I'm always trying to stay in the know so I can know what to come back and show y'all, right? So weekly, you need to have some time that you're bettering yourself for your business, okay? That can even be, let me tell y'all how I'm a little upset that I'm about to have to learn paid ads, right? I'm about to have to learn it. Why? Because these people are charging astronomical prices for your paid ads. And that's more than just Facebook. We're talking Google ads. I did my first YouTube ad yesterday, thanks to Dr. Tachi, right? So we need to learn how to do these ads because I was asked the question in one of my Sundays where I was doing professional development. The guy asked the question, what is the one thing that if you learned it, it would be hugely transformational for your business? And as soon as he asked the question, I was like, fuck, paid ads. I have to learn it, right? So now I have on my calendar weekly to go and learn something new about paid ads. Okay. So ask yourself that question, get on that thing weekly. All right. Supply chain. Supply chain is more than just if you have a product, but if you have a product, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Is there anybody out there that is giving you something that you need for that product cheaper? Same thing for us service-based businesses. Is there anything out there that you're paying for that's cheaper, but up to par, or maybe even better than what you're already paying for? Okay. We should keep our sometimes when you meet other business owners, just ask them, hey, what calendar system are you using? I use Acuity. What are you using? Are you using Calendly? Okay. What do you like about that tech? How much is that? You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and be nosy. This is how we find out that better things are out there. Okay. Outreach initiatives definitely need to be weekly. Okay. We don't outreach every day, daily. That's okay. But you need to outreach weekly. What is outreach? You need to spend time reaching out to industry influencers. Okay. Local business groups, media outlets. Okay. The different groups that have your people in them. You need to do outreach to DMs. Okay. You need to do outreach to your co-leads. We need to be doing outreach initiatives, okay? Every week, outreach. Project progress. What projects do you have up in the air? What is the progress with them? What needs to change about them? Okay? So those are more things that you should be doing weekly. So I gave you about 15. So now I'm ready. I'm ready and ready. Dr. LaFera, what is at least one of these weekly routines that you know you need to be implementing? And really, you can give me one or two. Okay. And while Dr. LaFera is unmuting, over here on the YouTube side, we got Shawana saying good morning, and we got Keith over there saying good morning. Good morning, people. Y'all can also use the YouTube comments to let me know from this long list of valuable things you should be doing weekly. What is at least one or two you need to be implementing? Dr. LaFera.
Yes. So what I will be doing is looking at my social media more now that I'm getting ready to start posting more, and seeing which type of content that I'm posting is going to be the best type. Is it like the ASMR, which I already know it will be, or me talking while I'm doing something.
Yeah.
And then just having goals, like financial goals, or goals as far as like how many people did I reach. So, because I never set goals, I just do it and say I want to do well, but I don't say a specific goal.
Yeah. But do you recognize now, and you're not the only one, Dr. LaFera, right? But do you recognize now that when you set that number goal and you go back to your conversion rate, that like that is exactly how you're going to meet the goals?
Yep, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just
Ooh,
never did it.
Yeah, we just got to be a little more intentional.
Not really. I never
And
really
some of
did.
this stuff is not stuff you've never heard before. It's just stuff that you know you need to be intentional about, right? So we just all have to get more intentional, because we're not going to willy-nilly ourselves into our goals. We're just not going to. You have to be intentional. So now we have to, that's why the funny thing is, when I was thinking about what to talk about this week, how I came to this week is I was like, I keep telling y'all stuff to do. Y'all keep hearing things that you need to do. Some stuff might be something you haven't thought of, but for the most, what I want you to get from this week is what is important enough to do daily? What is important enough to do weekly? What is important enough to do monthly? And then what do you save for the year? Some of this stuff, a lot of it we saving at the end of the year. If we had known earlier, we could have changed the tide, right? We could have changed the results. Think about it. If you have a goal of, let's just say $5,000 in revenue a month, right? You don't wait to the end of the month to see if you made $5,000, right? You need to be checking on that thing weekly to say, okay, if I break that $5,000 down, then I know I need to be making a little over $1,000 every week. Did I get it this week? Right? What are daily sales looking like? So I can push more. So if we're pushing daily, we're pushing weekly, we're more likely to get the monthly goal. Okay. That's really the value of this week, right? All right, let's go to Glow. Glow, out of those about 15 things for your weekly routine, what is one or two you know you need to be implementing?
Going and checking, doing my SEOs and also money talks. That's what I need to be working on weekly for real, especially with the SEOs.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I feel like we don't take SEO seriously enough, y'all. Do y'all know how long it took us to take social media serious, right? As business owners, it took us a long time to take it serious, but we're more serious about social media than we are SEO, and it really should be the other way around. Okay. Dr. Tachi, what are at least one or two things you know you need to be implementing as a routine weekly?
Ooh, yes. Definitely looking at marketing analysis, because it's very easy to let that stuff pile up and not look at it. And you get a feeling of how it's doing, but you won't know unless you actually go back and look and do an analysis. And yeah, money talks. All of them, but those are
Those two. Yeah. Same for all of us, Dr. Tachi. We need to be doing all of them, but it's like one or two that really, really stick out. Thank you for that, Dr. Tachi. Dr. Toya, what is one or two weekly routines you know you need to be implementing? And let's give Dr. Toya time to come off the mic. All right, Dr. Toya, we'll come back to you. Kimberly, if you're available, come off the mic and tell us one or two of these weekly routines you know you need to be implementing. And Kimberly might still be over there getting ready. So, Heather, what is at least one or two of these weekly routines you know you need to be implementing?
More meaningful communications with customers, with
Love it,
clients.
love it.
And I really don't do any marketing analysis, like ever. But
Let me ask you this. Do you really do any marketing to it?
Oh, okay,
we'll
that's
start there, right?
I mean, why you gotta punch so hard so early? Damn. Ow. Anywho, but
I'm just saying, because sometimes
Really,
we don't
I'm
do
just
an
gonna go-
analysis because there's not a lot to analyze, right? So
okay, let me just listen, ma'am. You forget I know where you live.
just saying.
But like I was looking at TikTok videos I did last summer when I was talking about like grammar and parts of speech and stuff like that. Like some of those jokers got 1,200 views.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I wasn't talking about anything like magical, and I wasn't doing anything interesting with the presentation. I was literally like outside in the yard or sitting on the front porch or hell on my couch. Right. Like I wasn't doing anything interesting, but I was talking. And so I was like trying to figure out like, why does that resonate with people? And then like, how can I get back into doing that?
Yeah, because what you know is that conversation style resonates way more than lecture,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we need to do more of that. It's funny that you said looking back. I was going to do, I think it was last July. Okay. I said I was going to do 20 days of freedom that you could have from your business, right?
I remember
and
that actually.
Yeah, and the 20 days were really just the Monday through Friday of the 4 weeks, right? I did the first 5 days and I felt like nobody was really paying attention, so I stopped. Do y'all know that those are some of my highest viewed videos on YouTube? I was like, oh, I need to get back to that, right?
Yeah.
I need to go ahead and finish it up. So,
Yep.
yeah, it pays for us to go back and do that marketing analysis, right? Even when we think that there's not been like this huge, very organized marketing campaign. What
Right.
have we put out there and how did it do? And then the things that did well, we could now create campaigns around that stuff. So that's what actually why I was saying what I said, Heather, that even though you haven't done these marketing campaigns or you haven't been intentional about, oh, I'm going to see this week and sell this week and follow up this week, you have put stuff out there that can give you information to then build that campaign around. So that's actually why I know you felt whooped, but that's actually why I was saying that. Because even when you think you haven't done a lot, you can take that you did, look at it, and now we can build a lot from it. So yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point. You said something and I was just, damn.
Come on, 50. Go on, pull it in.
55. Yes, it's hard out here.
Yes.
I'll think of it.
No problem. Just let us know what you think of it. I see Kimberly is back. Kimberly, what is at least one or two things you know you need to be implementing in your weekly routine?
Good morning. So definitely follow-up. I'm really, really bad with follow-up. So I really have to concentrate on that. Supply chain, because I am a product-based business, I've been having some issues with my manufacturer. So I am working on, doing that. And I'm sorry. And that's it. I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry.
you're good. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for that. And so over on the YouTube side, we got Keith over here. Y'all know Keith be organized, y'all. I don't know if y'all noticed that, but Keith be doing the damn thing. So let's see what he said. He said, I'm excited. I'm excited, y'all. I'm excited to enhance my graphic design business by implementing 2 strategies from this weekly wins list. Firstly, I'll prioritize customer TLC by focusing on building stronger relationships through rewards, referrals, and ongoing communication. Secondly, I'll commit to regular marketing analysis to fine-tune my promotional efforts based on social media engagement, ad performance, and website traffic. These steps will not only bolster, y'all hear Keith, bolster y'all, client satisfaction, but also drive growth and revenue in the long run. He is so right. Okay. So yes, I know it just all seems like one more thing to do, but I try to help you focus on doing the things that are actually going to get you a transformation, right? I don't want to talk about stuff that's just going to keep you busy, right? We're talking about things that's actually going to get you a transformation and how often you should be looking at those things. All right, just like yesterday, I have prepared for you. What are some of the obstacles to these things and what is a solution? Okay, marketing analysis, the obstacle, difficulty in accurately measuring and interpreting data. Okay, the solution, use comprehensive analytics tools. Okay, periodically seek training on data interpretation and or hire a marketing analyst to help you. Okay, so every tool you have has analytics in it. Your social media has analytics. Your website has analytics. You can go further and get Google Analytics, okay? Sign up for Google Analytics. It's free, so you should sign up for it based on the domain of your main website, okay? But every website you have can have its own Google Analytics. All right, customer TLC, the obstacle, maintaining specialized interaction as customer base grows. So the solution, you need a CRM system. Okay, again, yes, just like yesterday, if you don't want to use a system like HubSpot, which is a true CRM, most of your email marketing systems are not true CRMs, even though they say that they have capability. Capability is one thing. Actually being something is another, right? I'm capable of giving you a medical diagnosis. That don't mean you shouldn't go to a doctor because mine might be wrong. It might be because I'm from the South, some Southern, heritage stuff, but you want the thing that's actually built for that. That's like HubSpot, Salesforce, and all of that, okay? That stuff is convoluted and it can be expensive. A spreadsheet will do. Until you get to a point where you have a sales team, a spreadsheet is just fine for you to start keeping up with these people, okay? Partnership. The obstacle, finding the right partners and managing collaborations, okay? The solution, establish clear partnership criteria, okay? Who is a good partner for you? Not just everybody is a good partner for you, okay? I have people that come and want to partner with me all the time. It's not a win-win for me though. Yeah, I might have something that they need, but remember, it's supposed to be win-win, not win. So what is it that you have that I need? Or actually, I can't stop my business to focus on what you need because I still have a business that is my first priority, right? So what is your criteria? Use your networking events and your network and online platforms to identify potential partners. Again, we're going into that Dream 100, right? And that doesn't always have to be gurus and big name influencers. Who in your network, okay, could be a good collaboration with. So regular review and adjustment of collaboration terms are needed, okay? Money talks, what is the obstacle? Keeping track of progress, keeping accurate and up-to-date financial records is the obstacle, okay? So the solution, invest in good accounting software and consider periodic training or hire a part-time accountant or bookkeeper. Now, I'm gonna tell y'all something. Y'all know I'm not good with money. Yeah, y'all know I'm if you've been following me for a while, you know I say the same thing. I'm like a stripper. I make the money, I spend the money. I make the money, I spend the money. But even I have a bookkeeping software that does a lot of the work for me. I use Hurdler. In our community, we have Lakeisha Williams. Years ago, she told me about Hurdler, which I think is HURDLR.com. Okay. It's just like QuickBooks. You basically connect it up to your accounts, and it's pulling in all your stuff, and it's trying to intuitively, which we now know is AI, assign your expenses, these categories, and assign the revenue coming in as categories, and trying to give you a profit and loss statement of somewhat without you even doing anything, right? So that's at least a start. So if you get something like that, then you can go in once a week and just go through and correct what they've intuitively tried to assign. Okay, so they're doing the real work. You're just coming in and QAing. Okay, so QuickBooks, Hurdler, things like that. I think there's Zero, is a whole bunch of software out there, and all of it does not cost money, or it doesn't cost a lot of money. So that's the least that you can do. All right, your goal check-in. The obstacle, keeping track of progress across various fronts. So we have different goals. We have different goals in different areas, and sometimes it's hard to keep up with, right? If you are in the quarterly CEO productivity membership, you know, we just started our 14-day goal sprint. And so sometimes we just got too many goals, and we need to figure out what is the priority goal and then zero in on that. That's the truth about so many things that we're trying to do as entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, right? So a solution is project management tools. Set up a consistent time each week to review all short-term and long-term goals, right? Project management is not just for projects concerning clients. It's for internal projects. It could be for personal projects, and it can definitely be for your goals, okay? Let's see, social media engagement. The obstacle is that it's time consuming. The nature of consistency is like zero, right? Because we know it's going to take a lot of time. So we see it and we like, I'll get to it later. The solution, schedule posts, schedule your engagement. Again, if you don't get to stuff daily, make sure you at least have a time once a week where you go and you respond to everybody. Let me tell you how it's just as important for you to respond to people as it is for them to leave comments. So you have to go and pay that back with a response. Performance metrics. Okay, these are those KPIs we were talking about. What's the obstacle? Establishing what the KPI is in the first place, and then, you know, tracking them. So the solution, focus on key metrics that directly impact the goals. Okay, what directly impacts the goal? Just like I taught you today that knowing your closing rate is going to directly impact your revenue goal. We don't have to know all the KPIs, right? But what are the most important KPIs? So when you have, when you want to make more money, if you only focused on your conversion rate, that would bring in more money, right? If you wanted to be more time efficient, if you only focused on prioritizing tasks and putting them in time blocking, you would get more out of your time, right? So what are the one or two things that are directly tied to the outcome that you want? That's how we're going to create a KPI, okay? Then we're going to use, you can say, create dashboards if you would like. That's kind of a advanced way of looking at stuff. I'm still trying to figure out what my CEO dashboard needs to look like. At one time I shared a dashboard with y'all, and then I tried to work it and it didn't quite work out. It was too cumbersome. So I'm trying to figure out what is a more simplified version of a dashboard for me. I know it's going to be my marketing channels. I know it's going to be the sales for my different offers, you know what I'm saying, things like that, but I'm just kind of tweaking it. So you have to decide for you, what is it that you need to be looking at? And then you can create a dashboard for it. Or let me tell you something else. You can go on Fiverr and have a dashboard created with the KPIs that you give them for about $20. Okay? So it's no excuse not to keep up with it. Okay, now let's go to inventory management, or so this will be mostly like Kimberly, and Dr. Toya has some products, and Dr. LaFera has products, definitely. So predicting demand accurately, right? Predicting demand accurately. So the solution is use inventory management to track trends and predict future needs more accurately. Now let me tell you something about that. We can kind of track and see what is the best time of week that people are buying, what is the best time a month that people are buying, but really you almost need a year's worth of data to be able to forecast your year, right? So at the end of this year, or if you've been in business for more than a year, look back on the past year to see what were the patterns. And then we can try to apply them for this year. And either we get ready for when we got a bunch of sales at this same time last year, or in the times where we were weak in sales, that might be a time to do a promotion, right? Have a huge campaign to bring in money where we are, otherwise would not. So that's how that works. Website analytics, the obstacle, understanding and acting on analytics data, the solution, train in web analytics. You could even hire some specialists. I'm gonna tell y'all, don't forget YouTube University to start getting your brain wet on these types of things. Okay. Again, I do professional development every week. 1 week, you might need to dive into website analytics. Okay. Everything is not always starting with hiring somebody, because sometimes when you don't know enough, you don't know what you're hiring them for or if they're doing a good job. So you still need to, I call it wet your brain on some of this stuff. Let's see. Supply chain checkup, the obstacle, managing multiple suppliers and the relationships and the terms. Solution, regularly evaluate suppliers and consider diversifying sources to mitigate risk. So, Kimberly, I know that you know, but most of the time when you start your product development, you have looked at more than one manufacturer, even before you chose one. When you're doing that, don't lose that information of the other manufacturers that you didn't choose. When you are out there looking, go ahead and make notes on why you didn't choose somebody, right? Or what you did like about them, so that when you're looking for a manufacturer again, you can go back to those notes, right? And determine, can you now reconsider any of these manufacturers that you already said no to? And then you have now a jumping off point to go and see more manufacturers, okay? So even though you've said no to something or somebody, if you can keep notes on and just tuck them away, right? When it comes time for you to look for another one, then you have those notes to start with. Service-based businesses, same things for you, okay? There are service providers that you thought about using, that you said no to some, and you finally picked one. You need to keep notes on who they were, right? Why you said no. Sometimes it's just price, and guess what? Prices change, right? There are plenty of people that you probably would have worked with if the price wasn't so high, so you settled for who you picked. But now that who you picked is not working out, go back and check the price of the other one. Or are you in a better position to pay the price that they have, right? Because sometimes as we rock and roll with business, we understand the value of some of the things we didn't value when we first started, right? So sometimes people are higher for a reason, but we don't have a perceived value of why they're higher, so we don't want to pay that higher price. But now that you done dealt with this other person who didn't get you what you needed, now you understand the value of what all they had to offer and why they were priced the way that they were priced, okay? So again, when we are looking for even technology and service providers and people to work with, even VAs and VA agencies, we need to keep some type of document of all the ones we considered, why we didn't choose them, so that we ever have to come back to that choice, we have something to jumpstart us, okay? Project progress evaluation, the obstacle, project delays, and managing resources. Again, this is because we have a bunch of projects up in the air, right? So sometimes we can only, it's like spinning plates. You can only spin one at a time, even though they're all up in the air. Well, we need to make it a point to give each plate a spin, though. You know what I'm saying? We need to make it a point to look at each plate. So the obstacle is so many, and they're in different places, that it's kind of hard to keep up with. The solution, again, a project management system, okay? Put them in there. Have in there reminders to check on it. Have in there notes on where you left it, so when you come back with a clear mind and don't even remember this project, the notes will tell you exactly where you left off with the project, okay? All right, y'all. This was good. This was good. This is what you're supposed to be doing weekly. Let me check over on YouTube. Okay, YouTube is quiet. So does anybody have any questions or suggestions? Because again, I'm not the only genius in the room, on these routine things you should be doing weekly and how we can keep up with them. Anybody have anything they want to add before we get out of here?
I feel like I just need to be cloned.
Well, that sounds like SOPs in a team.
Me too, Heather. I'm over here thinking like, okay, so I need to figure out when I'm gonna have time
Yeah.
to do it. Like, that's it.
I have a
Dr.
question.
LaFera.
With video AI, does it have to be a long form video before I can get it to start chopping up those videos? I have a lot of videos, but they're all short form.
Now, when you say short form, like, is it like 3 minutes?
Well, yes. at least 3 minutes because when I put it all together. But so I have to keep going through all that to get to like one video that's maybe a minute that I can or less that I can use for a reel or YouTube. And
Mhm.
so that's a lot of editing on my part. And
Yeah.
so that's and I guess I'm the only one who can do that because I know.
Not really, not really. So video.ai, vidyo.ai, definitely has where it will definitely chop up those 3 minute, 1 minute videos. But you have to also ask yourself, I mean, if it's already 1 minute,
Mhm.
that is a reel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but they're not. I record them in like 3 minute segments, and then
Mhm.
I go back and edit them all down to 1 minute.
Yeah,
Some
so
of
you
it's
can definitely
ASMR
use
stuff.
video.ai,
Uh-huh.
because what it'll do is it's gonna pull out intuitive clips from it, more than
Okay.
one, and then you can just go through the clips. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
because those clips have timestamps on it, you can, you remember what was in the 3 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And so you can, when it pulls a clip, you can say, you know what, I said something before that I would rather include, and so you can take that up a little bit and then take the end off a little bit. So it at least
Mhm.
gives you a better starting point, right? That's
Yeah.
for you doing it. Now, if you had a VA to do it, you can just tell them, hey, this is what I'm looking for out of a video. Give them a criteria, right? For
Mhm.
example, my video editor, as we're working with cutting down this morning show into reels, right?
Mhm.
Some of the reels that he's doing is some of y'all talking about your expertise. Well, why would I want that on my YouTube channel, right?
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
had to give him a criteria because I can't just tell him good stuff, good stuff, because the good stuff could again be y'all talking about what you do well or talking about your genius or whatever. That has nothing to do with my expertise. It makes a great morning show, but it doesn't make a great reel for my expertise, right? So I gave
Yeah.
him some criteria. And the criteria was, am I talking, right? And giving great tips. Okay, that was one. Number two, am I answering a question and giving great tips, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Number three, I let him know, hey, I start off every morning show giving them the information. It's almost like a monologue. So even if you only pulled clips from the monologue, that will be right. You see what I'm saying? So giving
Yeah.
him those criteria, he's giving me better and better reels.
Yeah.
So so that in addition to the video.ai pulling intuitively what they think is good and my criteria, he's producing better and better reels. He's getting to
Okay,
the point
good.
now where I don't even have to check them anymore.
Yeah, I was just making sure I am not gonna not be able to use it because my stuff is, vertical instead of horizontal. A lot
No,
of it.
that has
Most
nothing
of
to
it.
do with it.
Oh,
Not for video.ai. You could do either.
okay.
Because I mean, it takes the landscape and make it vertical, but it'll take a vertical and keep it vertical. So yeah, you should be good. All right. Anybody else with a question or a tip on what you should be doing in your routine weekly or even daily? We can go back to yesterday. Anybody got any questions that you thought about overnight? You're like, hey, what about something from yesterday?
I have a question,
What you got, Dr. Toya?
and you may have covered this. I had to step away for a moment, but
Okay.
is there a chat GPT prompt
Mm-hmm.
that I can use to help with analyzing KPIs?
Analyzing them. Well, there is a prompt that you can put in for recognizing what a KPI should be, right? So you can say, my goal is blank, right? And I do these things to achieve that goal. What are the KPIs for me to know, am I doing well, right? So you can ask it that, and that will help you to define the KPIs. And
Okay,
then
thank you.
when you go back to when they list the KPIs, then you can say, well, let me go back a step. This is my goal. My goal is blank. I do these things to achieve my goal. Actually, my first question would be, am I doing the most important things to achieve this goal? That's the first thing I would ask it. Then the second thing I would ask it when we settle on what's the most important things, then I would ask it, what are the KPIs? Okay. Then third, I would ask it, what decisions do I make based on these KPIs to move me forward faster to achieve this goal? So that's 3. You caught that, Dr. Toya?
Absolutely.
So number 1, am I doing the most important things to achieve this goal? Number 2, what should be the top KPIs for the things that I'm doing? Number 3, how do I interpret these KPIs to move forward faster? There you
Thank you
go.
very much.
That was a great question, Dr. Toya, because you know. What you got, Kimberly?
So yeah, since you said we can go back to yesterday,
can.
you were talking about the calendars, and you mentioned it this morning as well. Which ones do you recommend? Because sometimes I'll add something, for instance, the morning show, I'll add it to my calendar, but it's never actually added to the calendar that I use. And so
Okay.
lately I found where I've been double booking myself by mistake, and I've missed out on some opportunities that way.
Okay. So I'm gonna fuss at you a little bit, Kimberly, because you
Okay.
are in the quarterly CEO productivity membership. And what that tells me is that you have not looked at either one of those trainings in there, neither the time management training nor the productivity training. Because if so, you would know you're supposed to have at least a one calendar somewhere that has everything, right? It's not the only calendar that you have. I have more than one calendar that I look at, right? So I have my default weekly calendar that I just got together, right? I have my desktop calendar, but the calendar that has everything is one of my Google calendars, right? One of my Google
Okay.
calendars has everything. And the one calendar system means that all of your personal stuff is on there. All of your business stuff is on there. All of your work stuff is on there, right? All of your date nights, all of your kids' soccer game, all of the stuff is on one calendar somewhere. And that calendar is the calendar that in Lord of the Rings rules them all, okay?
Okay.
So you need to have a one calendar system. On Sundays, I sit down with that one calendar, and that's the calendar I pull from my other calendars, right? Because that calendar also has deadlines on it, right? So on my desk calendar, I have deadlines and I have meetings that are outside of my default meetings. But on my default week, it's already set up with my default meetings and some default tasks, and I add in there impromptu stuff, right? I have a great system, and I taught that system in what you're paying for. So I'm going to encourage you. So the answer to the question is a one calendar system, but I'm going to encourage you to go back to the time management training and the productivity training, and you have tools in there. So use your tools.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. And if you're interested in the quarterly CEO productivity membership, you can go to shaycannon.com/membership. It's amazing. Again, we just added in 14-day goal sprints to the end of every month. So we just started a 14-day sprint where you are to choose 1 to 2 goals. And in the 14 days, we're going to achieve these goals because we have narrowed our scope to get it done. So yeah, join us, shaycannon.com/membership. But if you're not in our community, though, the community is free, y'all, and we're about to vote on our movie as soon as I put y'all's choices out there today. So the movie club is next week, next Thursday. If you need to be in our community, if you are an entrepreneur or a solopreneur struggling to get to your first 6 figures, what I want you to do is join our community, shaycannon.info/group. All right, y'all. That'll be it. We're already past the top of the hour. If nobody has any questions, we can get out of here. All right, then that's bye. Y'all have a great day. The studio is closing in 5, 4, 3,